In 1998, in Wuhan, China, a chilling case emerged involving the red-clad serial killer. Legend has it that this criminal only operated under the cover of darkness, targeting young women wearing red clothing and with long hair. His methods were incredibly brutal. After robbing his victims, he would assault them and then kill them to eliminate any witnesses. His random attacks spread fear across Wuhan, causing widespread panic. For years, families in Wuhan forbade women from wearing red and going out at night. It wasn't until the killer was finally captured and interrogated that he confessed his motive. He had never experienced a romantic relationship. The seemingly ordinary man, without any distinct characteristics, turned out to be Duan Guocheng, the infamous red-clad killer. According to reports, Duan Guocheng was born in 1973 in Yueyang City, Hunan Province. He came from an unhappy family where his father frequently beat his mother. After his parents' divorce, Duan was left in the custody of his father. However, his father neglected his responsibilities and often vented his anger on his son. This harsh upbringing fostered anti-social tendencies in Duan from a young age. At 13, after his father lost all their money gambling, Duan, starving and desperate, resorted to theft. He targeted a grocery store, but the store owner, a strong man, caught him, beat him severely, and turned him over to a juvenile detention center. In the detention center, Duan refused to follow the rules. He even formed a gang and assaulted an officer, resulting in an additional 2 years being added to his sentence. By the time he was released, he had turned 18. After his release, Duan struggled to find steady work due to his lack of education and criminal record. He repeatedly sought help from his parents, but they ignored him, refusing to associate with their troubled son. Left with no other options, he returned to a life of crime. Duan set his sights on a fashionable woman carrying a handbag as she walked down the street. He followed her for some distance and, when she entered a deserted alley, he quickly snatched her bag. He hadn't realized how easy robbery could be. Inside the stolen purse was a mobile phone and some cash. After successfully committing the robbery, Duan Guocheng went to a roadside eatery and ordered a bowl of hot noodles, even asking for an extra egg. While he was eating, the woman he had robbed suddenly arrived with a group of police officers. Duan was arrested again and sentenced to 5 more years in prison. During his time in prison, Duan showed no remorse. Every time he thought of the woman's face, he clenched his teeth in hatred. In his mind, his miserable life was entirely her fault for reporting him to the police. He vowed to find her and take revenge. Fortunately, after his release, Yueyang City was too large for Duan to locate the woman. Unfortunately, his resentment had shifted to all women in general. Late at night, on April 4th, 1999, Duan targeted a female worker in her 30s walking alone. He followed her into an alley and attempted to rob her. However, the woman fought back fiercely, screaming for help. Enraged, Duan repeatedly stabbed her with a knife until she stopped moving. This was Duan's first murder, and he fled the scene in panic. However, after returning home and calming down, he began to feel an inexplicable thrill when recalling the woman's lifeless body and desperate screams. After lying low for nearly a month and seeing that the police had not identified a suspect, Duan resumed his violent spree, specifically targeting women wearing red. On May 7th, 1999, he broke into a dormitory at a university in Hubei and murdered a 24-year-old female student, stabbing her 20 times. Afterward, he assaulted her lifeless body and calmly took a small amount of cash before leaving. On May 9th, at around 1:30 a.m. in Liangdao Street, Wuchang Duan followed a woman returning home from a mahjong game. In a deserted alley, he stabbed her 7 times and took her handbag, which contained 2,300 yuan, about $300. She had been wearing a red qipao. On May 25th, another woman, surnamed Zhang, was raped and murdered with 15 stab wounds. She had been wearing a red shirt and was attacked after leaving an outing with friends alone at night. The crime took place again on Liangdao Street. Late at night on June 1st, a woman surnamed Chen was brutally murdered in her rented apartment with 38 stab wounds. She had been wearing red lingerie. On June 3rd, at 111 Chiayi Road under the jurisdiction of the Xi'an police station, Duan targeted a 28-year-old woman who had recently moved to Wuhan for work. She was robbed and killed. The investigation revealed bite marks on her chest, thighs, and genitals, and one of her nipples had been bitten off. The victim had also been wearing a red coat. In a short period, these consecutive murders spread fear throughout the city. Rumors circulated about a perverted killer hunting women in red, and many women stopped wearing red clothing and avoided going out at night. The case caught the attention of the police, who formed a special investigative team of 40 experienced officers. Over 100 additional personnel were assigned to patrol the streets at night. However, by this time, Duan had moved his operations to Wuhan. Women working night shifts were often Duan's primary targets. His continuous spree of crimes made him increasingly frenzied and exhilarated. In Wuhan, many women were brutally murdered after being harassed by him. After his first attack in Wuhan, Duan would prowl dark alleys every midnight, searching for victims to stalk and eliminate. In less than a month, he had murdered 3 more women and seriously injured 2 others. The Wuhan police launched an extensive investigation, gathering evidence from the crime scenes. They discovered that the killer had arrived in Wuhan within the past 6 months. They also learned that Hunan Provincial Police were hunting a serial killer. After cross-referencing data between the 2 regions, authorities confirmed that the same person was responsible for all the murders. By this time, DNA technology had advanced enough to identify culprits from biological evidence, such as semen left at crime scenes. However, the DNA database was still limited, primarily storing profiles of serious offenders. Since Duan's initial offences were only theft-related, his DNA had never been recorded. The police had to rely on composite sketches of the killer based on descriptions from survivors. They knew he was about 1.7 meters tall, with short hair, a square face, small eyes, a stout build, light skin, and a surgical scar on the left side of his abdomen. The Wuhan police then launched a citywide operation, stationing officers around the clock in key areas. At night, they even had female officers wear red clothing to lure the killer out. Finally, their efforts paid off. On August 10th, after receiving a tip from a resident about a suspicious man at a guest house, the police quickly arrived and apprehended the suspect. That man was none other than Duan Guocheng. His physical features and the scar on his abdomen matched the killer's description. However, during interrogation, Duan vehemently denied any involvement. It wasn't until surviving victims from Wuchang identified him that he finally confessed. According to police records, from his first murder in April 1999 until his arrest in August 2001, Duan Guocheng had killed 13 women and severely injured 7 others in less than 2 years. Most of his victims wore red clothing, such as red shirts, dresses, or hats, earning him the nickname the Red Killer among locals. When asked why he targeted women in red, Duan laughed maniacally and said, "Women wearing red excite me. That's how I show my love for them." He also revealed that he especially enjoyed it when his victims resisted. "The more they fought back, the more thrilled I felt," he said. Throughout the interrogation, Duan remained arrogantly defiant, even telling the police that if released he would continue killing. However, there would be no chance for him to see freedom again. What do you think about today's case? Please leave your comments below so we can discuss it together. Don't forget to support us with a like and subscribe to the channel to motivate our team to bring more dramatic cases. And that concludes today's case. Thank you, dear viewers, for watching. Goodbye, and see you next time.